financial push, and because they don't have the dollar behind them that these larger parties have, they get overlooked. And go ahead.
Because it's certain parties who people believe in, but the COVID reaction, who would have handled it better is the major question. But my question before we get into that is, with Joe Biden being the candidate for the Democratic Party, is he a better president than Donald Trump is? Would he be a better president than Donald Trump is currently?
My personal belief is that he would be, only because he is a politician. And being a lifelong politician, I think that he'll do what needs to be done, whether he wants to do it or whether he's doing it because he's made to do it. I think he'll do what needs to be done for the betterment of the people to get us back on track. And because at the end of the day, we want to talk about politics, but there is a underlying conversation of racism that's fueling all of this. Whether we want to completely agree on that or not, there is an underlying conversation. And yes, we do say that blacks have been Democrats, but we started out being supporters of Republicans. We were supposed to be historically we were supporters of Republicans and have since migrated some to Democrats. And you can say that
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yeah, I mean, we could do our history checks. We could do a fact check on this. We know this.
Down, and it was a big trick.
Yeah, it was a trick. And at the end of the day, when you really look at it, neither one.
90+% of us vote Democrat. That's disgusting. I'm sorry. I just want.
How a person votes, that's their opinion. That's on them. Like for them to vote, I feel like you should vote. First of all, you should not be voting for a party just because it's your party. You should be voting for a person, and if their beliefs and their policies. I can vote Republican if I like this person's policies, just like I can vote Democrat if I like this person's policies.
But that's what I'm saying, even when it comes down to what people say about Donald Trump's words. Words versus actions. People say Donald Trump is racist. Donald Trump designated the Ku Klux Klan as a terrorist organization. He gave money to the HBCUs.
But see, even in doing that, now mind you, even in doing this, this is just you signing a piece of paper. Because here, when you was asked to speak against, I understand that action. But when you was asked publicly to speak against the KKK, but you didn't say KKK. He didn't. He avoided he avoided the question.
I would show a montage of Donald Trump disavowing the KKK.
But herein lies you listening to.
You've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem.
Would you repudiate David Duke?
Sure.
David Duke and robocalls are out again. The white supremacist movement supporting you. Do you have any words for that?
Well, I disavow. David Duke endorsed me? Okay. All right. I disavow. Okay?
When we looked at it and looked at the question, I disavowed David Duke. So I've disavowed David Duke all weekend long on Facebook, on Twitter, and obviously it's never enough.
Trump's refusal to condemn, distance himself from white supremacists.
The Anti-Defamation League is already out there asking the president to clarify why he didn't condemn white supremacists.
So are you prepared right now to make a clear and unequivocal statement renouncing the support of all white supremacists?
Of course I am. Of course I am.
When Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again.
David Duke is a bad person who I disavowed on numerous occasions over the years.
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it. I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. Ultimately, he got to the Ku Klux Klan, which obviously I'm going to disavow. I rejected David Duke, I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan.
David Duke is saying to his supporters and followers, vote for Donald Trump. White supremacists are saying, vote. Do you want those votes?
No, I don't want them, and I don't want him to say it.
And you want the supporters?
No, I don't want anything.
What do you think of white supremacists, by the way?
I don't like any group of hate.
David Duke announced his Senate candidacy, claiming your agenda.
Are you ready before you ask the question?
Newt Gingrich said every Republican should repudiate this guy no matter what it takes.
And I do. Rebuked. Is that okay? Rebuked.
Rebuked.
Done.
Done.
Just to clear it up this morning, can you, naming it, make a declarative statement that you denounce, that the president denounces it?
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists.
But this is my issue, right?
That's him saying it.
I understand that's him saying it. He's also came back and said something to the contrary. You can't go. Scripture tells you the double-minded is not to be trusted.
He hasn't though. That's what
But
I'm
you
saying.
can say, how can you say that when he's outright said one thing and did the complete opposite, or outright did one thing and say the complete opposite?
But therein lies the problem is that.
Or when he turns around and he's hypocritical of his own self.
I would have to get that example of him doing that. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. And
but
let me return to Joe Biden real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I'm skeptical about Joe Biden is because career politicians.
Just because he's a Democrat.
No,
just
it's career politicians. The very term career politician is repugnant. There is no reason why you should be in office as a politician for your whole life.
I agree.
You should have made a change in those 47 years. Like even Donald Trump said in the debate that he's done more in 47 months than Joe Biden has done in 47 years, and that is the actual fact.
Different seats, but okay, I'll give you that. Now, I will say this: as far as Trump being a racist, and people like to throw Trump's history with black people in the conversation, and I can give you that. But like we said once before on the break, before we started, it's not whether or not Trump himself is a racist as much as it would be the supporters of him being that issue. Now, what you saying, you asking if I think that Joe Biden would be a better president than Trump, I do. And I understand where you're coming from as far as career politicians. And yes, this is unfortunately one of many best of worst situations where we need somebody that knows what the blank they're doing to get us back on track, so to speak. But I am a firm believer that no one should spend their entire life in office or holding a political office. It should not be possible. Yeah. Because at what point are you really being voted in? Like, there are so many people on the ballot. We just talked about this. There are so many people on the ballot that aren't even challenged at all. Like, write yourself in. You think you can do a better job? Give it a shot. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you can, because there's an option. Write your ballot in. Put your name on the list.
But that's why I even asked you, would he be a better president, is because even when it comes down to policy, because that's how I have to vote, is determined on a man's policies. When we talked about COVID,
yeah,
Donald Trump, he shut off travel to China. Everyone says that it was a couple weeks later, he knew about this and all this stuff, but people forget that during the whole COVID thing, when people were talking about COVID, at the beginning, those first couple of months, January and February, there was a whole impeachment going on. Like, that was covering the news. That's the only thing that was on the news, was getting Trump out of there, but people don't want to say that. But even when he shut down travel to China, Joe Biden was calling him xenophobic for doing that. And him and the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, she said go down to Chinatown and do all this stuff. She was down there without a face mask. So what I'm saying is, would his policies be better?
Wow, you sound just like Fox News. I'm sorry.
But would his policies be better? But it's a fact or no?
I mean, okay.
That's what it boils down to.
So,
is it a truth or not? That's what it is.
I mean, I will say that one is given more information than the other. So, which is why Trump was able to respond and act the way he did, and those without that privy information.
The former vice president.
I mean, he's
the
former now.
Former vice president.
Former now. He has people.
He has.
I mean, I've seen newsroom. I've seen the he got the plug. They got somebody to go give him a call.
Exactly. You know, he knows the same people that Donald Trump knows.
But
so that can't be.
But we also understand that there's a hierarchy too. So even if he is VP or former VP, is still former, so he's not going to get information when the head gets it in the first place. You cannot say that all because you used to be the man don't mean that you're going to always get information when the man gets it.
But if you're president and there's a deadly disease coming out of China, why would you say, as Joe Biden, why would you say the choice that the president made, which apparently means that's the choice that you would not make, why would you say that is xenophobic rather than saying this is probably the best thing to do to protect the American people, regardless of how it looks on the outside?
Because they like to throw names. Do you really want me to tell you my honest opinion
But
about
what I'm saying is, but that's the choice that he has to make. So if he wouldn't make that choice, he has to make the hard choice as the president. Would that be a good candidate to be in office? That's the thing when it comes down to.
Do I feel like he's that president that'll make the hard choices?
Would he?
Not without the right influence. Honestly.
Okay. That's a fair answer. Yeah.
And for that, I can honestly say, as much as I don't want to, because I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris. I know what she's done.
Yeah, she's a terrible person.
I know what she's done, but if we're looking for somebody who's willing,
that's not because she's a Democrat. That's just because she's an actual terrible person.
Because I have friends in California, and I know what she's done.
Because she's a terrible person.
But all of that being said, I would much rather have somebody that's willing to make those decisions and let him know that this is because I do know.
I wouldn't want her making it because she's still a terrible person, though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Please.
I would dare to say that and even when I had this conversation with one of my peers once before about Kamala Harris and having a job to do. Your job is to enforce the laws and to serve and so forth. I can't speak on a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the pressures of a lawyer. I can't tell you about how they feel and how they think. I have a friend that's a lawyer. He worked for a practice and then he went out on his own. Part of the reason why I feel like he went out on his own based on some of our conversations is he liked to be able to make the decisions that he needs to make without feeling the pressure of the law firm to get these numbers of convictions or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So that being said, now I can't confirm nor deny that that's exactly why he left, so I don't want to get my brother in trouble. I don't know. I'm not going to say that. That's just an assumption. But I'm willing to bet that something like that could be what influences somebody to make necessary decisions because you got a job to do. Mm. Maybe this is an opportunity of penance because one of the things she does speak about and you know, some evangelicals may be against it. Of course, we're in the Bible Belt, so we might have a lot of people that feel like you shouldn't. But we know that marijuana, the legalization of marijuana, take it off the books as being a federal charge, that by itself can free up a lot of black people who've been locked up and caught charges behind this. And that's one of the first things that she spoke about. But then, now, you was one of the ones that convicted these people for such charges. So now you knowing that this is a BS charge, and these people are catching BS charges behind it, now you got an opportunity to take at least one of these off the books that's not affecting people. So,
and that's understandable, but just to put this in there, just throw it out there, one of Donald Trump's policies that he's put on was prison reform, and that has gotten a lot of people who had those bogus drug charges put on there.
I've seen that.
And he got that taken off. And Kamala Harris, I'm not even going to say about all the things that she has done, like, other than her laugh, she's not a good person. There's tons of stuff on her. Like, it's just tons. Like, even down to her wanting to keep people in prison just for the free labor. But let's move past that.
I mean, I would have to fact check. I'm sorry.
Look it up. It is not that. You
PolitiFacts.
go look
Is
at.
that a plug?
You don't.
Can
You
we
don't.
get a commercial for
You
that?
don't even have to look up on
Can we get
PolitiFacts.
can PolitiFacts give us a commercial?
If
Can
they want to, but
so
I still,
PolitiFacts,
I'm
gonna
still
say,
50-50 on them. So let's go to the quick
What
thing
they
real
do?
quick.
No, never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. But the state